It is spring of the year 1890, and a detachment of a U.S. Revenue Cutter Service approaches a small tropical island village, heavily armed. The reason for this landing is the overthrow of a dictator. However, this isn't some other country, it's Florida. Cedar Key was originally built as a supply depot in 1836 during the Second Seminole War. Its strategic location and the completion of a rail line in 1860 would make Cedar Key the main shipping port in West Coast Florida until Tampa surpassed it, with John Muir visiting it in his 1,000-mile walk to the Gulf. Cedar Key was blockaded by the Union during the Civil War. After the war, Cedar Key became a center of seafood manufacturing, and nearby at Sina Otiki made pencils. The town's population peaked at 2,000 in 1889, where our story begins. William Cottrell was elected mayor of Cedar Key in March of 1889. Cottrell was known around town for having violent mood swings and intimidating his opponents. Even before becoming mayor, he had held a black man at gunpoint and forced him to beat a telegraph operator. He would also hold women hostage at gunpoint for fun. It is said that the Old Town Hotel had bullet holes in it from Cottrell drunkenly chasing a man while shooting. On August 4th, 1889, a Cedar Key woman named Rose Bell wrote to President Benjamin Harrison about Cottrell bullying locals, forcing a black man to walk in a costume through town, and killing his own brother-in-law, saying the good Christian men, who would later massacre Rosewood, mind you, were too timid to act. Harrison noted it was a very grim commentary upon the social order at Cedar Keys that only a woman had the courage to file charges. When he took office in January of 1890, Cottrell wasted no time taking the town with an iron grip. His father was the state senator, and one of his brothers co-owned one of the town's stores. Cottrell attempted to isolate the town and used thugs and his connections to intimidate the town's people. In 1890, customs collector James H. Pinkerton put an obstacle in Cottrell's plan. Cottrell was simultaneously mayor and customs inspector, which is how he was able to isolate the town, but Pinkerton outranked Cottrell. Pinkerton was also appointed by Harrison, which added to Cottrell's ire. Cottrell threatened to kill Pinkerton, and Pinkerton told Cottrell he should resign as mayor. On May 9th, Cottrell appeared at the customs house of the city marshal. According to Pinkerton in a dispatch to his bosses at the Treasury Department, Cottrell ordered the marshal to shoot Pinkerton after he refused to open the customs house after closing. The marshal didn't do so, which prompted Cottrell to curse and threaten Pinkerton. Pinkerton appealed for the federal government to intervene, as the local government wouldn't stop Cottrell. Pinkerton's request was granted, and the USS McLean of the Revenue Cutter Service, or modern Coast Guard, was sent to Cedar Key, with Captain Thomas Smith saying, "The newspaper reports are not only exaggerated, but do not tell one half of this man Cottrell's crimes." Smith's crew, along with federal marshals, combed Cedar Key for Cottrell, but he had skipped town up the Suwannee River. The appearance of federal troops in a ship was not exactly a welcome sight to a town that was blockaded only 25 years before, and the McLean crew was often threatened and scrutinized. Meanwhile, Cottrell had fled into Alabama, where he was arrested but released on bond. However, he was caught in Montgomery on November 5th drinking and picking fights, even challenging the police chief, Adolph Gerald, to a duel. The next day at 11 a.m., Gerald greeted Cottrell with a double-barreled shotgun, ending his life. Today, Cedar Key is a laid-back island town in Florida's nature coast, and its violent past is not really evident at all. However, it is also a town you can tell has a deep history. From Muir's 1,000-mile walk, to the tyrant gunslinger mayor, to the evils and tragedy that happened 10 miles away in Rosewood, Cedar Key is a unique and interesting place. Thanks for watching.